Hey everybody, I'm Meagan Hatcher-Mays. I'm the Director of Democracy Policy here at Indivisible, and thank you so much for tuning in to episode 2 of Impeachment Daily. We've uploaded the first one ever yesterday, so thank you so much for watching it. We got really good feedback. Thank you again for tuning in. Thanks to those of you who sent in questions, because we have some questions. And thank you to our comms team here at Indivisible, who is posting this Impeachment Daily on pretty much every single social media platform. So if you're watching this on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, some other one I don't know about because I'm kind of old, thank you so much for tuning in, and we are going to get into it. So the whole purpose of Impeachment Daily is to keep you posted on what's going on. There's going to be a ton of information on impeachment going forward, so we want to keep you updated on that. We want you to ask us questions that you might be having about all this very weird time in our country's history, and we want to be able to let you know what you can do to stay involved in this fight. So thank you so much for tuning in, and we're so excited to get after it with you here today. So here is a little bit of a recap of what has happened. We know that Trump reached out to Ukraine to try to bribe them into digging up political dirt on the Bidens, but we also know now that he reached out to other countries making the same request, like Great Britain, Australia, Italy, and China. And in fact, he asked China to dig up dirt on the Bidens from the White House lawn into a camera. So it's caught on camera. We know that he did it. He's not really hiding. That leads us into kind of like the latest revelations here, which is that this is actually not the first time that Trump has reached out to China to ask them for their help to investigate his political opponents. He actually called President Xi Jinping in June of this year and brought up not only Joe Biden, but Elizabeth Warren as well. Those are his two main rivals at this point in the presidential race, which is questionable behavior, once again, from Donald Trump. He said, he brought up these two folks. He said, hey, by the way, I'll keep quiet on the pro-democracy protests going on in Hong Kong during our trade talks, just FYI. So this is starting to sound a little bit like that favor that he asked of Ukraine. So it's not great, but that brings us kind of back to Trump asking China to investigate Joe Biden in public from the White House lawn. Now, this is like a pattern for him, right? He just says the quiet part loud. He just admits to wrongdoing in public into a camera, and seems to think that just because he's saying it into a camera that it's fine, that it couldn't be illegal, because would a criminal admit to a crime on camera? Not a good one, no. But just because a camera is present doesn't mean the thing you did wasn't illegal. In fact, the presence of a video camera is usually pretty good evidence in a criminal trial, right? So this might remind you a little bit of something that he said during the presidential election, which is that he could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and get away with it. And that's exactly what he's doing right now. He's just shooting people on Fifth Avenue thinking he can get away with it. But let's prove him wrong, right? This is starting to feel like, oh, I fired James Comey, and by the way, the reason I did it is because I don't want him investigating me and my activities in Russia. And oh, hey Russia, if you're listening, will you dig up Hillary Clinton's emails? All of that is is wrong. It's corrupt, and just because he said it on camera doesn't make it any less so. So that's why this ongoing impeachment inquiry is so significant, why it's so critical. Every day Trump is in office, he degrades our democracy. So let's stop giving him the opportunity to do it, because we know he'll always take it. So here's a mantra you should just kind of keep in your mind as this impeachment madness is going on, and it's this: Trump did it, and he admitted it. There's going to be a ton more information that comes out, but just keep that in your mind. He did it, and he admitted it. Just because it's on camera doesn't make it legal. Okay, so with that said, we're going to take a question. I got a question, and the question is as follows. Why is there a rush by Democrats to get articles of impeachment done quickly when that early timing will cede control of the narrative to the Senate and to Mitch McConnell during the 2020 campaign? That is a great question. So one of the things we talked about in our very first episode of Impeachment Daily was the timeline for when we think these impeachment articles are going to be made public. and when we expect a vote on the impeachment articles this year. And we think that's going to happen sometime around Thanksgiving. Now, I actually wouldn't call that a rush. I would call that a sense of urgency. This is a very urgent matter. As I just explained, every day that Trump is in office is a new opportunity for him to find ways to interfere with our elections. And he still has a lot of countries he hasn't reached out to yet. So the sooner we act, the better it is for our democracy and for our future election security. With that said, we know that he interfered in 2016, right? When he said, "Russia, if you're listening," right? Remember that? That was about 2016. The Mueller report was about activities that happened in 2016. What he's doing now threatens our 2020 election, which is really soon. That's just a year from now. So it's better to deal with this sooner rather than later. If we find out throughout this process that there has been some interference with our elections, we're going to want to fix that sooner rather than later. So that's why it's so important to get this out of the House and get it to the Senate so that we can move forward with a trial. Also, with that said, I think that there's going to be a lot of opportunities for us to find some wins during this process. So I think even though the Republicans have a lot of power over some of the evidence that comes in during the Senate impeachment trial, I think a lot of bad stuff about Trump is still going to come out, and I think that will not be good for Mitch McConnell and the Republicans. I don't think that we are going to cede the narrative to them. The only way that they can control the narrative, by the way, is if we let them control it. So let's not do that. Let's keep showing up, holding our members of Congress accountable. Let's keep holding Republicans especially, holding their feet to the fire on this, because it's time for them to show up for our democracy as well. I think this fight is going to end up being a lot like the Brett Kavanaugh fight, actually. I think there's going to be a lot of parallels there. I know that fight didn't have the outcome that we wanted, but we did get some wins in there that I think we learned a lot from and that I think we can replicate for Trump's impeachment trial as well. Like, for example, we did flip a Republican. We flipped Lisa Murkowski of Alaska. She voted against him. Jeff Flake of Arizona retired over his Kavanaugh experience. And now we've got in Colorado and Maine, Susan Collins and Cory Gardner really in the fight of their lives to get reelected. Now we can make this impeachment vote as consequential as we made that Kavanaugh vote. So let's do that. So we just need to show up and make that happen. And here is a segue into how you can get involved. First, you can go to impeachnow.org and you can find recess events that are happening over the next couple of weeks, toolkit, other resources to help you talk to your member of Congress about how important this is. And you should also text, let me get this right, impeach to 97779 and you'll get some more information from us. And so when you're out there, make sure you're holding Democrats and Republicans accountable on this issue and just keep that mantra in your mind. Trump did it and then he admitted it. Okay, thanks so much for tuning in to episode 2 of Impeachment Daily, and I will see you on Monday.